So in my experience, wherever there's difficult or uncomfortable thoughts, there's also difficult and uncomfortable emotions. What happens for me is the thoughts are predominant. They're the things that are happening first, or on the surface of things, really. So the general run of events for me is my mind's off on one, thoughts are racing, I'm working out what something's about or what I need to say about a situation, and it's there's tension and disturbance in the thought, and it's uncomfortable and uncontrollable even. It's quite random. It's like you're stuck in this thought whirlwind. So that's the first signal for me. I know now from experience that if that's happening, there's something emotional going on which I haven't acknowledged or checked in with. Some kind of, we can generalise it as a pain or discomfort or disturbance emotionally. So you could be angry, really angry about something. You could be down or sad or depressed about something, or frustrated about something, or grieving something. Now, I just wanted to establish more the connection between those two things, because it's not all that common for people to be able to know that is what's going on and to be able to address it, really. But in addressing it, so being able to address an emotion and therefore stop even further disturbance and tension and discomfort from disturbing thoughts, we need what's called emotional dexterity. So we call it EQ these days, emotional intelligence, which is fair enough, and there's loads about that you can check out for yourself. My take on that is, so I also wanted to bring in something about a previous video. So I speak sometimes about how language and words are only really a two-dimensional facsimile of actual experience, and words don't do things justice properly, and that as soon as we use language, we're already presenting something in a less than real light. However, in this instance, with emotional dexterity and being able to get to the bottom of this particular issue. So I've got a situation here with the dogs. It's a normal situation. I'm going to have to get out now what's called a poo bag to sort this, and I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back from the poo event. So emotional dexterity, language being not so good, or words being a not so good a way to describe things in a real sense. But in this sense, emotional dexterity goes hand in hand with an emotional or energetic vocabulary, if you like. And why is that? So why is that true? So we do derive meaning, our sense of meaning, from things. So words are like, even though they're not the real thing, they're signs. They're something that we can use or latch onto to understand something about something. So with an emotional state, for example, emotions or feelings, how we arrive at a well-used emotional vocabulary or emotional dexterity is through the process of, it can only be arrived at through actually exercising the ability to sense and feel. So that's the part that escapes language and thought. Actually listening to the body is a way of putting it. That doesn't do it justice. But sensing, seeing what's there emotionally. Now, the fact that this actually sounds strange or difficult to describe is a clear indicator of how poor we actually use this function, and how prevalent or not prevalent it is in our society to be able to do this. But this is what life is. This is what a human body is, what it does. It's a vessel that feels things happen to it, causes emotions, it causes feelings, and that's a huge part of our reality, huge part of our experience. What's happened is we're governed by thought now, so we rely more on thoughts and processing things and getting perspective on things and analysing things, so much so that we've lost the ability and the importance of feeling. So I've covered this in other ways, in other videos. So anyway, but doing that over a period of time, that's how you grow your dexterity. And where the language comes in is, the word is a way of giving a particular thought, emotion or feeling a name that you can keep referring back to, and have some aspect of familiarity going on with what you're feeling, because the easier it is to be able to put a name on or understand, tap in with your feeling or your emotion, then the easier it is to kind of on the spot, that's being ideal when you're really good at it, but on the spot, on the go, on the move, resolve your difficulty, your disturbance, your troubled mind, shall we call it. So that's the stages. It's mind's on one, it's racing. That's the first thing. So it's noticing that, wow, my mind's racing, it's disturbed. Oh, there must be some kind of emotion going on I've not checked in with, I haven't felt it, I haven't stopped to actually use my capacity to feel and see what it is. Okay, so do that. What is it? Oh, I recognise that emotion, that feeling. I'm depressed, or I'm sad, and there's a whole range of how that process can happen, and there's a whole range of emotions that once you tap in with, uncover other emotions behind that. Maybe more about that in another video. But when you do this process, this is where you can see the relationship between thoughts and feelings and emotions, because what happens is when you choose to feel it, which by the way, it's not easy, it's difficult, because uncomfortable feelings, that's what we don't like. So we run into the head when they're going on. We run into head for reassurance and objectivity and the answers. But when you do it, when you check in emotionally, there is no thought. So the uncomfortable thoughts for a start, that's what stops them. because you can't do both at the same time anyway. Feel and think. You're feeling something, you're in that mode. And it's then easy, possible to see how mental illness, whether it's the phenomenon that's spanned the whole of the last few centuries, you know, the existential crisis, everything about the human condition, or just an individual and their troubles with it. You can see that either collectively or individually that's an issue that needs addressing. Pardon me. And because there's such a hedonist culture, that's where we're at, and that's why disturbance continues, grows, gets worse and worse. Well, that's my take on it anyway. Because we've come away from emotion, the body, feeling, sensation, and we're not dexterous with it. We don't have the language for it generally, don't have this vocabulary. So that's the relationship between all those things. And yeah, I'll leave it on that point. Going out into the sun. See you all again soon.